Welcome to the Dynamic CIO Talk Show. Indeed, after a slight gap, we deliberately gave it a pause since we are aware that at this moment, majority of our community members and stakeholders are grappling with exigencies and fighting a dual battle. Therefore, we thought that we shall go slow. Uh, the world, specifically India, has been battling the second wave of COVID 19. This wave is several times lethal, several degrees more fatal, and has shaken us to the core. As we try to halt the spread of the novel coronavirus, it's no longer merely an experiment to work remotely from safe confines of home. It has become the necessity and the new normal. The normal world that we will return to post the pandemic withers away will be dramatically different from the one we left in early 2020. But the question everyone is still grappling with is what exactly will be different. Um, about the same time frame last year, Wall Street Journal published an article titled "Coronavirus Sets Up Accelerated Push to Cloud for Cybersecurity Industry." It, in a way, forecasts some of the changes that this pandemic is accelerating in the world of cybersecurity and the world of connectivity. In brief, it's going to be very uncertain, very unpredictable, and very unheard of from here on. However, um, this pivot of working from home or working remotely highlights the benefits of many things, including the cloud based services that can quickly scale up the defenses around decentralized employees, that can quickly give the quotient of agility, the flexibility that is required to perform the functions and to serve the customers. So, this overnight shift to near full work from home has challenged even the most prepared organizations. Everything from network infrastructure to the devices that we use for work to our assurances that users and corporate data remain safe and secure has had to be rethought and reimagined. There's a lot that has changed, and there's a lot that will change as we will go into the future. To talk about some of these things and more, I have with me today Rajiv Sridhar. Rajiv currently works as the managing director for Infoblox India and SARC region. Infoblox is the pioneering company delivering reliable, secure, and automated networks. It also empowers organizations to manage the continuously evolving and growing networks very simply and very securely. The company's core belief is next level network experience should be seamless and worry free because the network that works best is the one that no one notices. Now, prior to joining Infoblox in the month of June last year, Rajiv worked for McAfee in various leadership positions, including the director and country head enterprise business. Prior to that, he was regional director enterprise business Intel Security, which was precisely McAfee when it was part of Intel. Okay, so let's not wait more and straight away dive into the conversation. Hi, Rajiv, how are you doing? Tough
Uh,
times, also, but also time for more innovations, more solutions, more work.
True, very true. I know it's a tough time and good to connect with you, Rahul. It's been a long time.
Absolutely, the pleasure is mine as well. Now, before we move further into this conversation, which is my first conversation with you in
Yeah.
any capacity, first of all, tell us more about yourself, your journey to the top, various milestones that you have gone through, gone past, and the leadership role that you have assumed at Infoblox now.
So to give you a brief, my career with security, especially in the security domain, started off when I was working for HCL, and that's where my leadership role started, where I was managing a team of salespersons, uh, basically taking care of the networking security solutions, and that's where my journey started. And then I joined McAfee in 2005, and luckily for me, Karthik was the country manager at that point of time, and he gave me an opportunity to grow in the organization as well. I started off as an account manager, but then did multiple roles to reach a stage where I could build my own team in McAfee, and that kind of gave me an exposure from a not only from a security domain perspective, but also managing people, right? And in this ever changing world of or ever changing, threat vectors that we see, that as we go forward, things were so different and it was so dynamic, and so that interest towards security domain kept on growing, and I got kept on getting a lot of chances to do more and with more teams, and luckily I got an opportunity to do even channels, because that was one piece that I didn't do. So I got an opportunity to be a channel leader for McAfee as well for almost 3 years, and then run the enterprise team for almost 2 years before I got this opportunity to join Infoblox. And what I liked about this organization is it's a great place to work organization, nimble, though it's a 20-year-old company, it's not a startup. But then the way the company is moving is all complete pivot towards from being a network services company to towards cloud and towards security, which is very interesting, right? So that was one of the reasons that I joined this company, and the journey till now has been fantastic.
I mean, great to listen to this. I mean, you have a very illustrious. You have moved from the bottom to the top. Quite a
Yeah.
journey, very illustrious and very focused into the domain of information security. And I hope that at the time that you have joined a new organization, very challenging, very tough
Oh
times,
yeah.
but the leader in you will keep you going. So
Yeah.
so that's fantastic. Um, uh, However naive it may sound, but as a leader, as a CEO, how do you personally compare the change between the pre-pandemic times and while we are struggling to beat the second wave now? I mean, how do we join these two dots? Also, if you can be a little bit of future teller,
Mhm.
and if you can tell, how do you envisage the future from here on?
Right. So, pre-pandemics, and the era that we are in since almost more than a year now, and now we're in the second wave, right? So, a lot of things have changed. The way business is done has changed. The way people interact has changed. The way communicate has changed. And India, is a more a relationship country, right? And people like to have face-to-face conversation, would like to sit in front, discuss, and do business, right? So that's how normally it's done. But this change that happened from COVID times, from beginning of last year, or yeah, March last year, uh, a lot of things have changed, and the way people have been thinking that has changed completely, and this is impacting employees in a big way. So look at the people here, right? When I'm sitting at a CEO kind of a level, and I look at the people, the impact on people, the sales team, the engineering team. I mean, everyone that's working in the organization. There's a lot of change that I'm seeing, right? Because people have to balance now between home and work, and from a remote location, right? So which is not easy, right? You have to balance that out, and that continues throughout the year, and now with the second wave, things have changed completely for the same people, because the second wave is impacting them in much bigger way, and they can see their own families, or some of them themselves have been impacted by COVID, or the new pandemics, right? So that is also creating a lot of issues, and I just hope this thing kind of ends up fast. But future prediction, as you're asking me, is so difficult to do that. I just hope this is the second way and we stop at it, maybe in a few months time, but you don't know, right? India is a big population country.
Does that, I mean, I'm going a little out of the way, but does that actually impact the morale of the people who are working inside the company, and when they're talking to the customers? Is there any change in the way things were dealt with before pandemic?
See, obviously, before and past pandemic, I mean, or the current pandemic, the discussions are very, very different right now, because earlier people used to be very free and open, but right now people do check from, even from customer standpoint, right? I mean, if things are okay with them, how are their families? These are the first questions that usually people would ask, in terms of when you are starting a discussion, whereas earlier it was not. These are now the common things that is happening, and there is certain element of sympathy also between people, right? That people are now much more sympathetic, and empathy towards each other is too much higher than it used to be earlier. with the current pandemic situation, which is, kind of, people are now understanding the current situation well, and adapting to it. And I think companies are also doing that, which is great.
Okay, so let me now dive into certain areas which are actually challenging the industries, challenging the users, challenging the infosec and infotech leaders. You know,
Right.
cloud vulnerabilities remain front and center. There is a continuous integration and continuous delivery, which is always under assault from various sides, be it malicious actors, threat actors, or something internal. There is a remote
Right.
place which remains vulnerable target forever. There are emails which remain the leading attack vector. I mean, the list is long. Ransomware threats is all-time high.
Yeah.
COVID-19 is the top social engineering theme even today. Vaccines are being exploited, the vaccine themes are being exploited. I mean, how much more do you think as a business leader um, the industry has to face and confront and safeguard itself?
So Rahul, all this gives all these vulnerabilities that you spoke about, right? Be it the email, be it ransomware, or the COVID situation. Today is actually an opportunity for all the bad actors. They look at this as an opportunity, and they've been utilizing these vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities, when you say vulnerabilities, not only technology vulnerability but people vulnerability, right? They're using this current situation in ways and means so that they profit out of it, so they make money out of it. And that is where, you see that with COVID happening for the last 1 year, the number of attacks. If you look at the statistics that we have, in the number of attacks in India on a DNS standpoint is the highest among the countries in India, countries in APJ, followed by Japan, right? So these are some of the stats that are coming out during this phase, and which is very critical because you look at ransomware, right? So ransomware has been there before pre-pandemics also, and in today's scenario, it has taken a different leap altogether because now they are using this for, again, all those people who are impacted and trying to get money out of them as well. So technologies, like us, help protect customers and users from getting into these kind of ransomware attacks if they are proactive in getting things done right from a DNS security standpoint, which will help them protect themselves. But these situations are going to remain. I mean, these will keep on happening, and people exploit, right? I mean, situations are exploited by all these bad state actors, and they will continue doing that.
Yeah, you rightly said so. I mean, things were not very great even before pandemic,
Yeah.
but I think when the organizations got caught into this quagmire of enabling workforce from their remote locations, the threat actors got this window to start exploiting more in
Yeah.
terms of because the attention was somewhere else, and in that span of time, I think everything, whether it was phishing,
Yeah.
whether it was ransomware, whether it was malware attacks, and especially the concentration of people on COVID was such that email phishing with the
Yeah.
COVID teams has been rampant.
Teams. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So these are not going to go anywhere. You are right, but there has to be safeguard, and the safeguard comes from the organizations like Infoblox. So how is Infoblox placed
Yeah.
to help the industry fight this menace, which is only growing and rising? How does it ensure that the next level network experience is seamless and worry free?
So from an Infoblox standpoint, so, what we are known for is our patented grid technology, which is iOS, right? So we've been pioneers in that, and the pivot towards cloud has been big. So our solutions, which are now on cloud, helps customers not only to basically go from a very very traditional data centric network to a more agile network, wherein when you say that you're spinning up locations or edge. Right now, when you look at the work from home, the edges are the people working from home. So today we give that flexibility to customers to have technology or the network being monitored not only from these data centers but also from the cloud. So we are the first. I mean, one of these first uh, uh, players in this market to come out with the cloud first DDI solution, right? So, and not only that, we have moved our platform, which is known as BloxOne, to a threat defense or a security portfolio, which helps proactively protect users' data and infrastructure wherever they are, irrespective of whether they are, in a office location or at at their home. So we give a complete borderless network, solution which is hybrid, cloud as well as on-prem.
So, Rajiv, I'm very keen to know. I was actually reading a lot about the info blocks one threat defense
So depends, yeah,
that actually strengthens and optimizes the security posture from the
right,
foundation up. Even Forrester's consulting economic impact analysis of blocks one threat defense found that the solution can increase customers' return on investment by as much as 250% over 3 years.
true.
So, would you mind explaining this to our viewers a little bit more in detail, please?
Sure. So to I'll not go very elaborate on it, but I'll from a very layman's language. We when we talk about our blocks one threat defense, right? It is the first. We give the protection at the very first level when it comes to a DNS, right? So DNS, because we are very strong on the core network services, which is DDI, we have the visibility right at the beginning of any connectivity that happens in your network, right? Even before your other security tools come up. So we are the first one to notice any abnormalities, any connection that's happening which is not normal. We are and all these bad actors are using DNS protocol in a big way because it is known as a trusted protocol, right? So we would be the first one to know it, and our blocks on threat defense solution actually helps in not only protecting or kind of getting a visibility of those threats that are coming in, but also we integrate with all the third party ecosystem that customer currently have, most of them, right? We have an out of box integration with them, which means that the moment we detect a threat, okay, on our DNS platform, we are immediately able to kind of inform the other or give the feeds to the other security tools in the network of the customer premises, so that at all the levels or all the layers, those threats are blocked, or you are able to protect it from any other threat vector that's coming in, right? So those are some of the advantages that we give from a threat, from a blocks from threat defense perspective. And not only that, we have this endpoint that's running on the agents, right, on the users, which keeps on monitoring any such malicious activity that's happening, and this is all done through cloud.
Great, thank you. Now, it is. I mean, great explanation in layman's language about the products and solutions. But it is also very important for us uh, to let our viewers know how does Infoblox operate in India. I mean, what's the go-to-market strategy? How do you reach out to your customers? How do the customers reach out to you? I mean, what's
Right.
the two-way street that you have made?
So from a GTM perspective, what we have done as a change that I brought in when I joined this company is we've actually divided the region into three territories, right? Where we have RSMs, one of the each RSMs managing the large accounts in all those regions. So for example, for us, South is one region, West as one of the regions as well. So I have got a salesperson running these regions who manage those large accounts and those which is managing the partners in those regions, which actually helps in giving us the coverage as well. So that's our GTM. So we look at and we are a niche player. We operate in most of the large segments, large customers. That's where customers sees value in terms of the solution that we give. So value proposition is all to the large verticals and large segments that we operate in, which is basically BFSI, ITITS, government, healthcare, manufacturing.
Okay, it's pretty much across industries.
That's
I mean,
right.
across all the major industries. Great. So I think a lot that we have spoken about work, and there's life beyond work too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
although it is currently in the confines of the four walls.
Oh,
How do you
yeah.
beat that? How do you beat that overwhelming claustrophobia and near zero exposure to the outside world? I'm very
I mean,
interested to know.
you won't believe it. I've got a small boy at home. He's like 3 years old, so he keeps me going when I'm at home. So, all these lockdowns, the advantage is he gets a lot of my time, and or rather he snatches my time off. So for me, it is always work and managing him at home as a primary thing that I do. So that keeps me working. I mean that keeps me going through the day. Otherwise, if that would not have been, then things would have been very difficult, because then you would have either switched to, or maybe doing exercises, or binge watching, right?
But how much time do you devote to work otherwise?
So, if you ask me, since this work from home thing has happened, there is no nothing called as, you know,
No
uh,
division, no
no,
division of time
there's no
between
no
family and
division of
work.
time. Yeah, you just have to, you're connected all the time, right? I mean, you're connected on the mobile, your laptop is on, you always have a call, and then you keep on balancing that between work and family at home.
Yeah, so one last thing before we end this very informative and very nice conversation. I've been hearing some really big global leaders that they would like to end their tryst with Zoom meetings very soon. I'm sure this is coming from the western part of the world, because that's where things are opening up
Opening up now, yeah.
faster. How soon
Yeah.
do you think that you will be ending that?
As we discussed, the future prediction is so difficult right now, especially in India, because my colleagues in ANZ, they are open. I mean, they are meeting up people. There are events happening, customers meeting up, and everything's open there. So I just hope this happens as early as possible. I look forward to meet my customers and partners very soon, and I would just want to come out of this Zoom thing for sure as soon as possible.
Great. Thank you, Rajiv. I think it was a very, very fantastic conversation with you. I'm sure our viewers will get to know. I'm sure they know about Infoblox already, but if they don't, they would get to know a lot more with this interaction. Thank you very much for your time and information that you shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much.